Welcome to Tilly's Trans Tuesdays. We are going to talk about something that kind of caught me completely off guard because I honestly never thought something like this could happen. Here's the past to the new past, aka finding our own representation too, aka KJ and Paper Girl. Hi, I'm Tilly Bridges, your host, and I'm joined by my writing partner, my best friend, my wife, our token cis representation, the first lady I'd sign up to be in my adventuring party, Susan Bridges.
Hello.
Our returning guest is June Green, the Duchess of NoHo, a bog witch that has been haunting the Los Angeles suburbs for over a decade. When she isn't casting hexes or raising up an army of the damned, she freelances as a writer and general nerdy contributor. Her favorite food is olives, her favorite movie is Little Monsters, and she has a cute little pet Piper named Piper. Welcome back, June.
Hi, I'm glad to be back.
Okay, so do you want to let people know what a cute little pet Piper named Piper is?
Yeah, so cute little pet Piper. So I do have a little pet Piper. Her name is Piper.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah, no problem. Actually, I thought about changing it too because her name has evolved into Peeps.
Peeps?
Yeah, just Peeps.
Oh,
so I think
so
I have
cute.
a pet Piper named Peeps now. She's a 10-month-old black and white Cavapoo that I got from a rescue, a Cavapoo rescue, actually. And she's adorable.
Cavapoo?
So a Cavapoo is half poodle, half St. Charles Cavalier.
Oh,
King Charles
wow.
Cavalier, not St. Charles, King Charles Cavalier.
Okay.
So they're just really floppy and really soft, and she's really cuddly and snuggly, and she's really low maintenance. And I'm a huge dog person.
Yeah.
So I've always got to have a dog in my life. And that's my Peeps.
Peeps. Oh,
Peeps.
That's the cutest. Oh, my God.
And just because she makes little peep sounds when she wants something. She goes, boop, 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 boop.
I'm sorry, what was that sound again?
Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop.
Wow.
That's like, really well, what do you want? What do you need? Cheese? You need cheese now?
Don't we all?
Yeah, of course.
It's a good fair bet. Yeah.
If I'm eating cheese, she has to have the cheese too.
Right. It's only fair.
There is a cheese tax that you do have to pay with all dogs. I don't know if you know about this.
I've heard tell.
Yes.
All right. For you, what has been the most surprising thing about your transition?
I think, not to repeat my answer from last time, but how good HRT made me feel in my body.
Yeah.
So, and not to oversell it for everybody because your mileage may vary.
Sure. Always.
But that was a huge sort of, I call it like a bet on myself.
Yep.
Or a life-saving bet on myself that this was what I needed after having, years of therapy and years of trying every sort of antidepressant and every sort of anxiety medicine and every sort of whatever. Finally just going like, no, this is what I think my body needs. This is the element my body is missing. And then choosing that and then feeling the effects.
Yeah.
And again, just the confidence it's given me, the peace of mind that it's given me, the happiness that it's given me. I think the most exciting part is saying hi to yourself in the mirror, which is
it's so great, isn't it?
It is. And
it's the sweetest thing, and it's so wholesome, and it's so good.
And it's just so for me, or so for yourself, because it's just like, hey, we got here. We got this far.
Yeah.
And we're doing okay. I think we're going to go a little further.
Yeah. It's great because like when I started HRT, I was super scared. I still remember the very first day looking at the one pill I started with in my hand before I took it and being like, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
And you hope that it's going to do the things you want. But like, I hoped, okay, so maybe I'll get some of the physical body changes that I really wish I had. And that would be wonderful. And I never thought it would change as much as it did for me emotionally, mentally, just feeling like a whole person.
Exactly. Yes, exactly that.
not like a tiny person piloting a flesh mech, you know?
Yes.
It was,
Yes. This crappy old flesh mech.
Yeah. And it was the wrong gender and it looked bad. It was beaten up and falling apart, and I didn't care about it.
Steering wheel hand.
My little steering wheel hand.
It had a steering wheel on a mech. It was terrible.
It was so bad.
It could only just tip over left or right.
Right.
No, I felt the same way. And that was like in that flesh, just like muscles all around you. No, I think it was, I like the body I'm in now.
Yeah.
I want to customize it. I want to get a tattoo. I want to pierce my ears. I want to wear fun frames.
Yeah.
I was one of those male presenting people that had a uniform, and the uniform just kept getting more and more restricting the older I got. Yeah. Until it was just black shirt, black hat, black glasses, like black, black, black. I'm always going to a funeral. And now it's still mostly black, but there's a lot more.
You are very witchy though, and I love that.
I know, and that was the fun part of like discovering who I am too.
Yeah,
is once you do get the choice of like, I mean, I'm sorry, dudes, but your clothing options are so limited.
They're terrible,
and they're so. I think guys can be almost like meaner about clothes than women can, if I'm making broad generalizations. Especially when it comes to like a workforce uniform or something like that. It's if you're slightly different, it's not celebrated. It's not, oh cool, I love that for you. I love that you wear bright colors or bold colors or fun patterns or something like that. It's, what are you doing? Blue Oxford, khaki pants. What are you doing, dude? Like, stop messing.
That's what society teaches men that they should look like and do. So
dress them like Agent Smith, right?
Yeah. So actually, we did an episode on how heavily gendered clothes are and male fashion, and Beau Brummel is the reason that black, brown, and blue are the only thing dudes are allowed to wear, and he killed all of the flair and fashion that actually used to be in men's fashion, and it just became this accepted thing and muted everything down, and it's terrible.
What was his name again? Beau
Brummel.
Beau Brummel said you can only wear beige, brown, and black.
He was really just,
and he was a giant asshole,
rich jerk.
Yeah,
but one of those like rich jerk guys that like everyone fawned over. They're like, well, I want to be just like Subo.
Yeah,
and that was like a big thing. But also, let's not forget the arrest of Oscar Wilde, I think it was, who wore flamboyant clothing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that really crushed any sort of male expression on top of that, because you might be gay.
Right, and that's a crime.
I mean, there's a Simpsons episode where Homer's shirt is accidentally dyed pink.
Yeah.
And he's ostracized from the company. He's fired. He's labeled as a rabble rouser and all these kinds of things. I don't know. This Beau Brummel person sounds like a Dr. Seuss character that he like lives in a hill in a house made of blue and brown and beige, and that's the only color he knows. And like the double B alliteration is really selling this on me.
Yeah.
He needs someone to like warm his heart.
There's an article all about how awful he was and how he ruined clothing for men in that episode on heavily gendered clothes and trans people. So check that out if you have not. There's a link in there you will find, and you can learn all about how terrible he is.
There's also a podcast called Articles of Interest, I think, and it is about fashion, but like about history and about how different trends happen.
Sure.
There is an episode about Beau Brummel, and the podcast is absolutely fascinating. So I highly recommend it.
Excellent. But let's move on, because this is not an episode about fashion.
It's not about Beau Brummel.
And it shouldn't be. He doesn't deserve it. Asshole. Okay.
But if you want to find out about more jerks, you can look up...
Okay, if you had one piece of advice for folks who are just starting their transitions, what would it be?
Oh, man, that's heavy.
It doesn't have to be heavy.
I know.
Or if there's something you wish you knew going in, something that would have helped you if you had known. Or
the easy answer is that sizing, it is inconsistent and a mess, and you just got to try stuff on. So I feel like early in the transition, you're very cautious and careful about what you buy, maybe, or what you want. It's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of buying stuff and being like, this does not look good on me. This lipstick shade is not right. This is not the haircut for me. Whatever. But the deeper answer is just keep trusting yourself. Keep believing in yourself, because there's so many things out there telling you that you're wrong and that you shouldn't listen to yourself or listen to your body or listen to your own mind. That's what's going to get you through those early days. Really. It's just doubling down on yourself and having sort of a stiff upper lip about the whole thing. That's what helped me.
Yeah. You can't give up right away because everything takes so long too. It's all such a process. You have to continue over and over again, especially in those early days, I think, to reaffirm, trust the process, trust in yourself. This was the right thing. Give it time to settle and for you to figure it all out.
And there's so much compromising when I think when a lot of people first transition, it's like, well, okay, well, I'll do this only at home. I'll only do this, around you, or I won't do this at work. I won't do this around family.
Yeah.
And those are all like, it's a death by a thousand cuts.
It is.
It really is at the end of the day, because you start to lose yourself again. So it's cheesy as it may sound. Trust yourself.
It doesn't sound cheesy at all. It's earnest and beautiful.
See, this is what I love about this community is everyone's so sincere. Everyone's so nice and supportive. It's just the best.
It's so good. Mostly it's just me, but it's so good. Okay.
It is called the Tillyverse.
I mean, okay. Okay, this episode is going to be about life and loss and love, and it's about Paper Girls, and it's about KJ, and it's about me. I can already feel myself getting a little emotional. Keep it together, keep it together. No, it's absolutely not the hormones. Shut up, I know what I'm talking about. Mild spoilers ahead. Some homework to start you off with the basics. These are not required, but it's semi-related stuff you might find interesting and that are at least somewhat related. See Bad Representation Lovecraft Country at TillysTransTuesdays.com and Bad Representation Emilia Perez in episode 96 of this show for what it does to us when trans rep goes very, very wrong. And see my essay on what good representation looks like in Cyberpunk 2077 and the great things it can do at TillysTransTuesdays.com. Listen to episode 12 of this show, Finding Our Own Representation, Pink, to learn about how good trans rep is so few and far between that we often have to get the rep we need from cis people who are making art about somewhat similar things. The two that you should really absorb to fully grasp what I'm talking about are physical representation and the Hollywood ideal, which is also about finding our own representation. This one is still just in essay form at TillysTransTuesdays.com, but bonus, there's talk of She-Hulk well before the TV show happened. And the most important one, the past and why it haunts us, which was way, way, way back in episode 2 of this podcast, about how incredibly difficult the past can be for trans people who transition as adults. Okay, you're up to speed, so let's talk about KJ. KJ is a character from Paper Girls, which began life as a comic and then was adapted into a television series that sadly only got one season on Amazon Prime. I knew nothing about it going in other than it was sci-fi and there was maybe time travel and it starred 4 girls and all of that was right in my wheelhouse. I hadn't previously read the comics, though I'd heard great things, but I went in with no expectations. I'm not going to spoil the whole show for you unless some character details are enough to do that. See it for yourself, though. It is a great watch and we need a lot more media like it. Before I get into the show and what it did for me and the specifics of why that happened, I wanted to get your general feelings and thoughts on the show, June. Had you read the comics before seeing it? How did it impact you?
I had read the comics before, but I had read them while they were coming out.
Okay.
So the story wasn't as super fresh for me. And I do think that having gone through the comic again, preparing for this podcast, it's not the comic that does it for me. It is the show. It is the elements that the show creators added to the story that really make it resonate with me.
Really? What were some of the more major differences that you noticed that made you connect with it more?
Well, I think that there is an influence of other time travel movies and other time travel media in the show Paper Girls. So I won't bury the lead at all. I'm a huge Terminator 2 fan.
Same.
I saw it when I was way too young to see it. I had all the action games. That was where I first learned that movies aren't real. Don't worry. Dyson went home at the end and he saw his family, spoilers for a 40-year-old movie at this point. But there's so many homages and visual nods to Terminator 2 in the show. And so that was my way of getting in. That was one of my ways of getting into it. I also think that Amazon, in all of their infinite knowledge and infinite money, were like, hey, Netflix has Stranger Things. Make us a Stranger Things. And they went out and bought Brian K. Vaughan's book because it looks great. But that extra added element of retro nostalgia
Yeah.
Another way of like helping me get into it and bring me into it that I feel like was in the book, but gets lost with a lot of the sci-fi elements.
Sure. Yeah, there is definitely an element of this that helped me too, in that it was the time period it's set in, like the original time period when the main characters are girls,
88,
is
yeah.
yeah, closer to when I was a kid. And so it gives you that feeling even more like this could have been almost similar to my
Same.
past.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. And like I had a Walkman like the one Mac has, and I would have worn a jean jacket the way Aaron did. Like
Yeah.
all those things are very, very. And I delivered newspapers actually.
So did Susan.
I did.
We were actual paper girls. Check that
We
out.
were actual paper girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get too far ahead of things, but I also feel like the contribution of the fact that the showrunner is a woman is non-zero, because the book, again, it stars 4 girls, but it was written and drawn by cis men.
Yep.
And that's fine. They can and should tell stories that feature girls and women as well. But I think getting an actual woman to be the showrunner changed things in a way that only that perspective can give you.
I think so too. Absolutely. Yeah, and for me, the show too, it's the teenager moments and it's the personal moments that are always the most important and always the most impactful and always the most like, wow, I can't believe we're watching this on TV. Like I'm riveted by this.
Yeah.
And then like a big robot shows up and you're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm up to speed. I'm back in. I'm back in. I was getting too deep and introspective for a minute, but robot showed up and that's good.
So, yes, the story is 4 young teen girls having an adventure and doing a lot of self-discovery along the way. And if you're wondering what my specific connection is, let me direct you to this social media post I made as we were in the middle of watching the show. Halfway through Paper Girls Season 1, and there's a sporty girl with curly bangs. I never got to be a little girl in my own childhood. I never got to have a group of girlfriends to go through life and figure shit out with. Sad face emoji. This actually means a lot. A lot. Oh, KJ, my heart. I was stunned. I was speechless. Just, I don't know, left breathless, I guess. It's so hard to describe even now because it was so unexpected and so impossible to believe. And it didn't hit me right away. It was halfway through the season when I realized what was happening. To be clear, the character KJ is cisgender. She is not trans. There are sadly no trans people to be found in Paper Girls, which is the case with most shows. Hey, put more trans people in things, maybe? We exist. For more on that, you can see my reports on trans representation in media 2022, 2023, and 2024, which were episodes 3, 52 to 54, and 97 to 99 of this podcast. I've talked multiple times about how much my hair has come to mean to me, figuring out the real me as it grew and I learned more about myself. You can see the essays on hair and Hair 2, my first haircut, both at TillysTransTuesdays.com, when my hair started matching me and the person I am, and how overwhelming that was. Both of those, along with a new Hair 3, will be coming to the podcast at some point. Oh, dang, a teaser. But even now, so much further into my transition, my hair remains my favorite physical feature. I cannot tell you how much I love it if it's not already apparent to you. And I'd never seen anyone else in anything we've watched with curly hair and curly bangs. That alone was just wild. She looked like me. No, wait. Here's where the breath was knocked out of me. She looked like I might have, had I been allowed to be the real me in my own childhood. I have no way to see old photos of myself with the real me in them. It's a horrible, hurtful fact of my existence that will never change. There are no childhood photos of Tilly because she wasn't allowed to exist when she was a child. You can see the follow-up to this very episode, which aired before this episode because things are timey-wimey, in the new Past 2, Trans Grief 1 and 2, in episodes 48 and 49, where I actually kind of got a glimpse of me as that kid, and it broke my brain and healed my heart. But thanks to a highly transphobic society and home life, my true self was kept from me without my consent. My truth was forced down, made to stay hidden. I didn't get to be a little girl, or a preteen girl, or a teen girl, or a young adult woman. It was stolen from me. And if you don't understand how that can happen, please listen to episode 95 of this podcast on Trans Trauma 2, Societal Gaslighting. And so here with KJ was someone who looked like I might have, and that was so cool. But I had no idea how much deeper it was going to go. Okay, June, What is your specific connection to this show? Is there a character who jumped out and grabbed your heart and made you think that's almost me?
Oh, Tilly, there absolutely was a character that
Oh,
happened
why do
with,
you think I
but
asked?
it wasn't Mac at first. It was actually KJ at first.
Really?
Yes, because I liked that KJ seemed to be the level-headed one that was
Mm-hmm.
responsible, and not to be too morbid, but she takes care of business in the first episode or the second
Yeah.
episode. And I really liked that about her. And it was as I was texting you or messaging you through my watching of this show,
Yeah.
and the realization slowly dawned on me that, if these are Sex and the City characters, I'm Mac, and I've always been Mackenzie in the friend group, in the way people see me and how I carried myself,
Yeah.
which also connects to the Terminator 2 of it all. I don't think it's a coincidence at all that the actress looks and acts like John Connor from Terminator 2, almost down to the exact
And the
wardrobe
haircut
choices and the
even? Yeah.
haircut and the way that
Yeah.
she like peeks over the bang when she's like, "What?" And so although he was a boy, he was a kid, and I always
Yeah.
identified with John Connor. I have my own like home life trauma and things like that, so I always admired this
Sure.
kid who had to stay tough because he was going to grow up to be the savior of humanity. And then once I started to grow up and distance myself from that character of John Connor, I was like, oh, I'm not. I'm losing myself. This isn't who I am. This is something I'm leaving in the past. This is the older I get, I'm leaving this childhood thing behind. And Mackenzie Mac kind of filled that gap for me of seeing like what my childhood might have looked like or what I might have looked like. Making those choices as a fan of Terminator 2, I would have cut my hair like John Connor. I would have worn a big oversized jacket. I was absolutely a kid that had a Walkman with her all the time and always had music playing and would, kind of tell the world to shut up and put my headphones on.
Yeah.
And I think there was a little bit of a shame in that too, because Mackenzie of the group is the one she's a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
She doesn't say the right thing. She can be very reactive and very mean with her words. And that is something that I am as well. It's not my favorite trait about myself, but it is a trait of myself. And watching her unpack that hurt with her older brother later in the season, I was also unpacking it for myself.
Yeah.
And realizing that just because you grew up in that environment or around those people or saying those things doesn't make it okay. And you should really open up your heart. And it's because your heart is so damaged and calloused over that watching Mackenzie's transformation just through only the first season, it's really nice. It's really,
Yeah.
it really shined a light on things for me. With KJ's life is a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
She's the brands come from money and stature in society. And I couldn't relate with that. I couldn't
And
relate
that
with
part
those
I can't either.
I couldn't relate with those struggles. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
couldn't relate with the queer story of KJ. If I'm spoiling it, I hope, I'm not trying to, sorry.
It's okay. No, it's fine.
But the queer story with KJ, a character like Mac wouldn't have had that opportunity. She wouldn't have had that privilege to discover those things about herself because she was so busy surviving. She was so
Yeah.
busy surviving an absent mother and an alcoholic father and an abusive older brother that she didn't have a pretty dress to put on to then feel uncomfortable in,
Right.
or a big party where she had to go meet a boy when she realized, oh, this boy is kind of a dink. So
Yeah.
it shows, it kind of showed my representation of like the kind of privilege I grew up with, both good and bad, racially,
Sure.
but also societally.
Do you feel like it gave you back part of what you might have missed out on? Did you have that sort of same experience? Like, this is a little bit of like that could have maybe been me. This is maybe a little bit of what my history could have been outside of the sci-fi aspects, obviously.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because like I said, like she dressed the way I dressed anyways, and the way I would have
Yeah.
chosen to dress at that age before it's just the societal sort of like constrictions really start to come down on you. I feel like kids can express themselves a little bit more open. There's always that like tomboy excuse or something like that. So I feel like what I got back from that was watching my own sort of having my own experiences played back for me, and I being able to watch it as an audience member and feeling sorry for that little kid instead
Yeah.
of being so hard on her the way I was hard on myself.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, so me and KJ. You see, KJ is athletic and sporty, just like me, even as a kid. She's also really smart and cares about her friends a lot, just like me. She wants to help them, she wants to protect them, she feels her emotions deeply and has kindness in her core. And then she learns a fact about her future identity, who she is as an adult, that she had no previous inkling of as a kid, that she's gay and is attracted to ladies. Wait, I am attracted to ladies. The way she struggled to accept this facet of herself, running through denial and curiosity and acceptance, mirrors so much about what I went through. There's a moment she gets to talk to her future girlfriend and asks her how she knew she was gay. And KJ is so eager to learn the answers, but is also scared about what it might mean and what people would think. And listen, listen, listen. I know that's something a whole lot of gay people go through, but it is also what a whole lot of trans people go through. Venus Strauss's performance all the way through the series, but particularly in that moment, was so nuanced and beautiful, and it just touched my heart in so many ways. KJ struggles with not wanting to be the person her parents want her to be. Yes, that's me. She struggles with what they'll think of her when they find out the truth and has to hide it from them. Yes, also me. And are you ready for the kicker? She wants to make movies when she grows up. She is in awe of the art form and wants to create and be part of it and put new things into the world in the hopes they'll mean to others what those things meant to her. Susan and I are screenwriters. We wrote and directed a short film that's out to festivals now. Come on. There's a link in the show notes about our movie if you want more info. Again, KJ is not trans and I am, and she is Jewish and I am not. But both are marginalized communities that face discrimination and violence. And while I am not saying the two are the same, there are some commonalities that people of all marginalized communities share. So what I'm getting at is that without any idea that this was waiting for me going in, and without the creators of the comic and show having any indication this would be a possibility, they've given me a gift I can never repay. Because in a sense, I feel like I really got to live vicariously through KJ. For those brief but glorious 8 hours, I got to live a lifetime of missed experiences and memories through her. I got to see myself in her in ways I've never been able to see myself in a character before. It almost felt like a second childhood in a way. Sure, I never got to go on dangerous time travel adventures, but I also never got to hang out with cool friends who were girls, who accepted me and fought with me and loved me and argued with me in the way that teens do. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the time travel aspects of this, but did that reveal any deeper connections for you?
Like the aspect of being able to talk to your younger self.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I do this every week in therapy. It is fascinating, especially the older you get, because the further away you get from the person you were as a kid, but
Yeah.
also the closer I think you become to the person you were as the honesty that you had as a kid. So for KJ, KJ doesn't really ever meet her older self. She gets to interact with her girlfriend.
Right.
But the character of Tiffany does get to interact with herself and does get to see the changes that she went through in her life and the sort of, at the time, disappointment that she did achieve all of her immediate goals and then they changed. Her goals changed, her values changed, what she wanted changed, and the younger self not being able to reconcile with that.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was not being able to see myself as a little kid, not because I didn't have those pictures or those memories or those like that visual imprint in my head, and then seeing Mac go through those things and go through a very familiar story that I'm used to, which is Terminator 2 and the story of John Connor. It's very much like, oh, and I felt this deep, deep sadness for this child that I never felt for myself, or a sort of grace I never gave to myself, of like, this poor kid was just doing what she could to survive in 1988 and through all the other challenges that she's faced throughout the series. And that was me. I was just doing the best with what I had, and I didn't have all the information I have now. And I think too, you see, again, I talk about privilege. KJ has the privilege of going through the queer experience, I think, earlier than Mac would have. I think later in the series, they do hint that there is a romantic, maybe something between Mac and KJ. and that Mac is still dealing with her trauma and her baggage of feeling like
Yeah.
the outsider and her impending doom and all these kinds of things that she can't, she doesn't have the time or the space in her heart or in her brain to let KJ in.
Yeah.
And that was also something that I really identified with. It was like it took me so long to get to the queer part of me because that was
Yeah.
shut off. That was the love part. And the hate machine was what was driving this flesh mech.
The flesh mech
It was
returns.
I had a hate engine in this flesh mech.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I was like, it's that sort of forgiving of yourself, forgiving the younger self,
Yeah.
and seeing if I can carry that into my other interactions with other people. And I
Yeah.
find that it makes me more graceful.
Yeah, I think I found the same, and it's even helped me. I I I always had more understanding, I guess, for the kid version doing what they had to survive and get through and just make it through all of that. But like the old adult version of me, early transition, I was so mad. I was so mad at that person. What took you so long to let me out to realize? And then the further into transition I've got, the more compassion and grace I have for that version of me who was
Yeah.
doing the best they could to get through so that I could be here now. And they got me here, you know? And so it's a journey sometimes.
Yeah. I really
Yeah.
like the scene where Mackenzie's older brother is teaching her what words you can and can't say in the year 2019 that you
Mm.
could say in the 80s. And it's not that you can't say anything. He tells her, like, we don't say this. We try not to say this word or anymore. We don't call people that. But you could still say MFer. Those are always classic. You can always call somebody, something else. So, and so
Yeah.
it's that thing of like, you can accept yourself. You don't have to, Mackenzie doesn't have to lose her edge or who she is or the music she likes, but she's growing. She's
Yeah.
accepting more love into herself, into her life.
For folks who do not know, who are listening, June and I are real life friends and in fact met in person before we ever connected online. And so I
Yes.
have to ask you, do you think Teen June and Teen Tilly would have been friends?
I think they absolutely would have. I think that they would have saw each other's fun glasses frames from across the room.
Right? Look at us.
I know. I think one of
They're
us
even
would.
complementary colors, pink
I
and
know.
green. They
I know.
go
I
so
love
well.
that. I love that. I feel like one of us would have had a Trapper Keeper with a logo of a show or a cartoon. I mean, it would have been Star Trek for you, I think. And I
Lisa
think
Frank, though, also.
Lisa
I do
Frank
miss
with
that I
a,
never got to have those.
and I
Those were
probably would have walked
something.
up and said like, "Hey, do you like Star Wars?" And you're like, "I like Star Trek," and then that would have been the end of our friendship forever. No, just
I like Star Wars, okay? I do.
I absolutely think we would have been friends. I think we would have found each other, and I was lucky in that I had a girl group of friends growing up. I had a girl group, not
Wow.
maybe not as tight as the Paper Girls,
Sure.
but I certainly had certain friends that I can call back to, or cis female, that made me feel comfortable, made me feel like
I
myself,
love
and
that.
let me be me and let me be comfortable, and would let me, would paint my nails for me or would dye my hair with me because I was a little punky kid. We'd dye our hair together, we'd paint our nails
Yeah.
together, we'd trade clothes. So like I had a little bit of that.
That's really cool. I wasn't really
Yeah.
allowed to have girls who were friends when I was a kid. It wasn't until I got to high school that, you would hang out with a group of friends from school or whatever. There would be
Yeah.
girls there. But as a kid, I was not really allowed to have friends who were girls. So,
See, I was a weird, I say weird kid, but I was the case where the parents had to be like, "So you're not doing anything?" It's like, "No, me and my friend are just hanging out, listening to music." It's like, okay, so I guess you're friends with girls. Like, okay, cool.
I'm so glad you had that.
Yeah, but I think teenager you and I would have been friends for sure.
We would have been tight.
Yeah, we would have watched all the same shows and read all the same comics and been on all the same
Right? We
been on
would
all the
have
same
been
clubs.
giant nerds together.
Absolutely. You were talking about before when I first met you. I think I
Yeah.
could tell this story. I'm
It's your story to tell.
okay. I first met you at Comic Con, at San
You
Diego
did?
Comic Con. I have been going to Comic Con for a few years now, and there was a messy summer where I had come out to myself and admitted that yes, kiddo, you're trans.
Yeah.
Better get used to it. Better learn to love yourself. But I was not presenting yet,
Yeah.
and was feeling the most amount of dysphoria in my body ever. Because once you really realize it too, you're like, oh, that's why everything doesn't feel comfortable. That's why nothing seems to fit. That's why there's always this frustration and this like anger when I look into a mirror or reflective surface.
And it's like you can't fix it fast enough when you hit that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so for those who don't know, Comic-Con is about 5 days if you count preview night. And I had gone to all 5 days. And while I was there enjoying all this sort of like nerdy revelry, I was really there looking for trans representation. I was really looking for anybody else out there who maybe didn't look the way I look now, but looked the way I wanted to look, or was living a life the way I wanted to live a life, and that sort of authenticity.
Yeah.
So I went to the Pride booth and talked to somebody, and I was like, "Hey," it was really, maybe a little weird, but it's like, "Oh, hey, you got a lot of like cool queer stuff. You have any stuff by trans people? Like just me, just a big fan, just an ally over here." And they were like,
that's right. We're just such good allies.
Just hanging out. Just wanted to, support you guys. Think what you're all doing is really cool. Just thought I'd come on over here from the cis het side of society. And yeah, that's not how that usually works. And they said, come back around like 1 or whatever it was. And so I just kind of hung around the area like a little creep, waiting for Susan and Tilly to show up. And I'm like, I think that's her. And I walked up. I had bought Begin Transmission.
Yep.
And walked up to you and asked you to sign my book, and you read my badge, and my badge had my dead name on it. Fair enough.
I asked if you wanted me to sign it to that name, and dead named you, and I'm so sorry. It still hurts me.
No, but I mean, it was literally written and tied around my neck. It's okay. You get a pass for that one.
No, I didn't know, but I still feel bad.
But you gave me that moment of being able to correct you.
Yeah.
And being like, no, actually, it's June. And then for you to draw the connection as somebody who had done it before and been like, oh, I see what's going on here. And you wrote a very nice inscription in my book. And we've been friends since.
We have.
Yeah. And we've been
Not a nice story.
It is a nice story.
Nice story.
I like to describe myself as if hatching or egg cracking is the metaphor, that day I was dripping with yolk.
But there's no yolk. If you've hatched, the yolk is okay.
Yeah, okay.
It's fine. It's fine. It was funny. I ruined your joke. That's what I do here.
With logic.
Yeah.
Oh, don't do that.
If I was rebirthed, I was trailing the afterbirth with me.
Whoa.
Better?
Okay. No, the yolk was better.
Okay.
What have I done?
There you go.
Well, I told you that this was a story about life and loss and love, and that's what it is. My own childhood was there, but it wasn't really mine. It's a loss I thought I'd never recover from. But through KJ, I found a small window into the life I could have had. And though it's bittersweet because it's fiction and it's her story and not mine, it still gave me something I was missing, partially filled the longing that has always been with me and always will be. But I can always think of her and what could have been and see myself in that story. One day, I hope there's enough true trans representation in our media that I'll be able to see a curly-haired trans girl with curly bangs going on adventures, and then, well, my heart just might explode. For now, we find it where we can get it, and KJ, she found me. And for that, I will love KJ with all my heart for the rest of my life. She's important to me in ways few other characters are, and all entirely by chance. In fact, I even found a shirt that matches the one she wore through most of the show, and I put my hair in a high pony like hers, and you can see us side by side in the text version of this essay at TillysTransTuesdays.com. I needed that shirt so bad, and I couldn't find it, but then Susan did because she is the queen of finding obscure stuff on the internet.
It's true.
I don't know how you do it.
I'm looking for a green ringer tee, if you can help me out with that later.
Yeah, send me all the details of exactly what you're looking for, what color the ring,
She'll find it.
Really? Okay. All right.
I don't know how you do it. Okay. Do you have any final thoughts on Paper Girls that you would like to share, Gene?
I wish there was a second season.
Oh,
I remember when I was watching it and texting you about it, we were doing that math of like that Hollywood math of like, no, I think the producers and the writers have moved on. I think that the Amazon's push for new content has shifted to this world and the kids have grown up. And I was like, no, there's still a chance. It's a story about time travel. Like they could still bring it back. I think it's beautiful. And I think that part of my journey and my transition has been accepting more love and giving more love in return, and seeing Mackenzie's journey, however short it was on screen, helped me to love myself.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, June.
Absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure.
To Brian K. Vaughn and Cliff Chiang, thank you for creating KJ. To Stephanie Folsom and Fina Straza, thank you for healing part of my heart in a way I never thought possible, and in ways you likely never could have imagined. Thank you for giving me a piece of my life that was missing, if only for those sweet 8 hours. I keep saying it because it's forever true. Create, put your art and your heart out into the world. You never know whose life you're going to touch, right when they need it. Tilly Bridges, end transmission. Tilly's Trans Tuesdays is hosted by Tilly Bridges and Susan Bridges, with audio editing and sound mixing by Jillian Morgan. The written essay version of this week's topic and all past topics is available at tillystranstuesdays.com. Special thanks to Daisy and Jane for the use of Sorry Not Sorry as our show's theme music. Please stop by and show your support at daisyandjane.bandcamp.com and soundcloud.com/daisyandjane. You can find me at Tilly Bridges on Blue Sky and on Mastodon at Tilly Bridges at mastodon.social, and you can find Susan on those at Susan L. Bridges. You can find Jillian at Audio Jillian on Blue Sky. You can join the Tillyverse Discord server by following the link at the very bottom of tillystranstuesdays.com. We hold regular watch parties for the Matrix films and other trans movies where I do a live Q&A, and it's blossomed into a wonderfully supportive, compassionate, kind community of friends. We'd love to have you join us. If you'd like to keep up with all the writing that Susan and I do, you can sign up for our newsletter at birdguestbroadcast.com. If you enjoy this show, please take a moment to leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts. The largest segment of our listeners find the show there, and more reviews equals a higher profile, which means it will reach more of the people who need it. Thank you for your support. For more information, visit pendantaudio.com. Thanks for listening.